Well, the DGR strategy has two main goals, and I think it's very important in political movements to actually have a goal. A lot of times we don't have a goal. If you don't have a goal, you're never going to get a strategy. And as Gramsci said, all politics is strategy. You've got to have a strategy, you're never going to get there. We have two goals. And the first goal is that we aim to deprive the rich of their ability to steal from the poor, and the powerful of their ability to destroy the planet. And then the second goal is that we would like to repair and restore what's been destroyed of our planet and of the human cultures that know how to live as members of those biotic communities instead of as dominators who destroy them.
The DGR strategy is one of attacking the roots of civilization to bring it down, and at the same time working to establish the roots in the soil for what will come up afterwards. And at the beginning where we are right now, that means we need to be building a culture of resistance that can sustain the potential for resistance and nurture resistance in all its forms in the years to come.
You need to take something away from the powerful. I mean, and on that level, it's kind of a zero-sum game. They've got it all and we don't have a lot. And that is done by force. Now, you can use nonviolent means of force, or, there's all those sorts of militant tactics that other people have tried. Regardless, it involves force, because power is not a mistake and it's not a misunderstanding, which is to say that social change doesn't happen by personal epiphany or some kind of spiritual revelation or even by rational discussion, because it's not a misunderstanding, right? It happens when you take power away from the powerful and you redistribute it to the people who are disempowered. And that is always going to require some degree of force.
Because we don't have the numbers for nonviolent resistance, we look at this industrial civilization and we say, this system is vulnerable. There's a lot of different weak points that you could attack in order to take it down. And a lot of those have to do with energy flows, fossil fuel, electricity, communication, global finance, these systems that give the system its strength, but they also make it vulnerable.
War is being waged against the natural world, and you don't stop wars primarily by simply asking. One of the ways you stop a war is by destroying the enemy's ability to wage that war.
The reason that we know the strategy could work is that we talk to people who have been involved in the military. We talk to veterans, people who've studied military tactics and strategy and history. And what they tell us is that going after critical nodes of infrastructure is a classic technique that's been used hundreds or even thousands of times throughout history to win large-scale conflicts, and especially asymmetric conflicts. And what that means is one side has way more power than the other side. And obviously this is that sort of situation.
Part of the problem is that too many of us don't yet perceive this as war being waged against the natural world. And part of the reason that too many of us don't perceive that is because we're the beneficiaries of this war. And I guarantee that if we were salmon, or if we were blue whales, or if we were monarch butterflies, we would understand that it's war being waged against the world.
We're asking people not to withdraw into personal despair and personal purity, because those are dead ends. There's got to be a strategy that will work, and we don't intend to give up till it's over. And therefore we are at least asking people to consider that more militant action may be necessary at this point in time, because we don't see that we've got enough people to actually use civil disobedience in a way that might be effective. The people who might take up an underground are not us, so don't come to us asking to join the underground. We can't help you. But if you have the skills and you have the personality, the character for it, we would hope that somebody somewhere might consider using those more militant tactics. And what we're talking about is property destruction. I am not in any way talking about harm to humans or other sentient beings. I think that this can be done without any harm to people. People are not the enemy here. What is the enemy is a vast system called industrial civilization, and that system is utterly dependent on fossil fuel at this point, which is why I think it's doable. The nodes are very obvious. So if somebody wants to think about that, then that's what we are trying to encourage, is at least a discussion in the environmental movement about taking up alternate tactics before it's too late.